Welcome to the SportsBros podcast, featuring the Almighty B-Live, the Money Man, Scottie D, and your host, the head of creative, Eddy Kool. And without any further ado, here they are, the SportsBros. Hey, what's going on, world? This be your boy, Eddy Kool, a.k.a. the HOC, and guess what? This is episode 71 of your favorite sports podcast. It's not owned by a four-letter network or a three-letter network or acronym, abbreviated network. It is the independently owned and operated SportsBros podcast. That's right. We run this. We run our mouths, and you enjoy it. This is what you come here for. An alternative, if you will, to get away from everything that's going on in the world. Welcome to another action-packed episode of the SportsBros podcast. And, of course, I got two of the greatest co-hosts in the world, and I cannot do this by myself. Introducing first, Usain Bolt's biggest fan, the Almighty B-Live.
What's happening? What's going on in the world today? And, man, every time I ask that question, bruh, the world never ceases to amaze me. I really don't know what is going on. But before we start this podcast, this is in memory. This is a somber moment right here. So for August 1st, 2020 to August 8th, 2020, I do believe, in memory of the Pittsburgh Penguins hockey season. Gone way too soon, and this is why it's dangerous to allow me to go first before you introduce the other guy, because I'm coming shots fired today. You go ahead, talk about the other guy that's on the podcast. Yes, sir.
Oh man, and the pride of Washington, Pennsylvania. Somebody say something about getting fired up. The Money Man, Scottie D.
Poison. I'm playing hurt today, guys.
Oh my!
It's not fake news. But as far as the Penguins go, I have absolutely no comeback for that. I waited all summer for that. It almost ruined my weekend, but guys, I tell you, between the Poison Ivy and the Penguins, I almost had a bad weekend. But I sat on my chair and watched the PGA Championship for 4 straight days, so I'm ready to get into that. Eddy Kool, lead us off, man. Let's talk some sports here.
I sure will lead you off just like one of the greatest leadoff hitters of all time, Ricky Henderson. All right, and speaking of the PGA Championship, man, look, I didn't see it all, but I saw little bits and pieces of it, and from what I heard, it was pretty good. It was compelling. And then came the final round, where we got a brand new winner. His name is Collin Morikawa. He's 23 years old. He wins by 2 strokes, and he drops the lid to the trophy. But it's okay, though. When it's your first time, when your first big major, this is what you do. So, Scottie D, tell us what you saw this weekend at the PGA Championship.
Well, a lot of times when these young guys who you don't know a lot about win it kind of takes away from it. I found myself kind of rooting for Dustin Johnson with the whole Myrtle Beach connection, or Paul Casey because he's 40. But, I've watched Collin Morikawa play a little bit this year. If you guys remember, a few weeks back, he won the Workday Charity Open in Dublin, Ohio. And I was actually filling you guys in about how Justin Thomas made this bomb 50-foot putt on the first hole of the playoff. And then Morikawa answered with like a 25-foot putt of his own. So I knew this guy was playing well. I knew a little bit about him. Didn't know a ton about him. In past championships, Dustin Johnson has been in this position before. We had the 54-hole lead, and to put it bluntly, he choked. I didn't feel like this was really as much of a choke as just a great field. I mean, at one point, we had 6-7 guys at 10 under par.
Yeah, 7
guys at 10 under par. I mean, it was anyone's tournament. At that point, I still felt like it was DJ's to win or lose, because on the back 9, he had the best week of anyone in the tournament. Pretty much, he had a great back 9. He just couldn't get a birdie putt to fall, and to me, I think for DJ, the tournament really took a turn on the 10th. The 10th hole was a par 5. He parred the hole, but he was sitting out middle of the fairway, hits a 7-iron in. If he hits it to the center of the green, he's putting eagle. If he makes that eagle putt, he's 13 under at the end of the tournament, as well as Morikawa. Instead, he pulled it into the left bunker, chipped out, and had to settle for par. And I think that's where the tournament started to get away from him a little bit and became anyone's tournament. If he eagles or even birdies right there, he's got a little bit more momentum going. He's seen another putt. But Morikawa, on the 14th hole, chips one in, and that puts him at 11 under. Now he's got the momentum. And then he made, obviously, what we all saw on the 16th, which was a shot for the ages when he drove that par 4 16th green and then made that eagle putt. I got to give a lot of credit to the announcers. I'm not sure if it was Frank Noblo or Andy North. One of these guys, when he stood on that tee, they said, this shot plays right into his hand. He hits a fades his natural shot, but you just hope he doesn't overdo it. Well, B-Lab, we were kind of texting when this was going on. That was incredible, was it not?
Oh my man! When I tell you, when I saw, because I was at work at the time, and so I saw the shot, but I didn't know it was off the tee. So I was like, he had just taken the lead and going into 16. I didn't know it was off the tee. I was like, dude, that was a great shot. It was like 5 to 7 feet away from the hole. That's an easy putt for birdie. And then, Scott, you actually were the one that told me, it's like, no, that's an eagle putt. What? And then they replayed. I'm like, holy Jesus.
Yeah, I turned to my dad. I said, that's going to be the putt that's going to be the PGA Championship right there. Because that kid was putting pretty well. And being, just under the hole, an uphill putt for him, pretty straight. I mean, you felt like that was going to be a really makeable putt. But man, that tournament was just straight fire at that point, and he seized it. I mean, this wasn't a case, DJ shot 2 under. This guy shot, I think he was 4 under for the round.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like you could say that Dustin Johnson outright collapsed, because he did that before, where he entered a tournament and blew up on the final day. I think he did it twice, as a matter of fact, where he just had a horrific final round. He just couldn't get anything to fall for him. He just wasn't as sharp as previous days, and his putts just weren't falling. But if you look at those names that were on the leaderboard coming down the stretch, besides Morikawa, he had Cameron Champ, Matthew Wolff, Scotty Scheffler, Victor Hovland. These guys, this is like a new class coming through. It's kind of like a new wave after the Rory, Ricky, Bubba Watson class. It's like these are good young players, and they were all right there looking at the title. Tony Finau, he's another one.
He was there too.
Don't you think Tony Finau is kind of like the guy who shows up at every party? He's not the life of the party. He doesn't get in fights or ride down the steps on a tricycle or out the window onto a yard mattress. He's just the guy that always shows up at every party. He's happy to be there. This dude's on TV every week on the final page of the leaderboard. He just can't get a win. But man, it was really compelling golf all weekend long, but especially on Sunday, man. It was anybody's game to win there in that final round. That was really exciting.
Yeah, I mentioned I was mentioning to Scott, well, we were talking about watching everything, that Matthew Wolff was sitting in the clubhouse at 10 under with 6 other golfers tied with him. And I'm like, he's got to be the most nervous because I think at the time when he went into the clubhouse, I think Dustin Johnson was either on like his 11th or 12th hole, and all the other golfers that were tied were staggered here and there and everything like that. And you Scott, you mentioned about the fact that he's probably probably about to get up and start stretching, because they had already was talk about the playoff scenario, playing the 16th, 17th, and 18th best score wins, et cetera, for the playoffs. Yeah. And then Morikawa just comes out and said, nope, you ain't got to worry about a playoff. I'm going to go ahead and grab this right now. Again,
I really were looking at a playoff, to be honest with you. When you have that many guys, there's a good chance that maybe 2 emerge from the pack with the same score. I really thought that we had a good chance of seeing some bonus golf there. And I tell you, Matthew Wolff, he missed 3 putts on the back 9 that were all like 8 feet or shorter. You add 3 more strokes to him, he's in a playoff.
Yep.
And I mean, it was. I actually when Morikawa hit that shot, I thought, man, that's going to be the one that's going to decide this thing. But if he misses that and goes to birdie, then we would have had a better shot at a playoff. But it was his for the taking. And like Eddy mentioned, it was kind of a fun moment when he dropped the lid off the Wanamaker trophy. That was a cool thing too. I mean, just he's a good young kid, likable kid. I don't think he's a fluke. I think he's a guy who we'll see in contention regularly. I mean, all these guys are going to have bad days. You know, you had guys like John Rahm and even Rory who showed signs of having a good tournament here and there and just couldn't put it all together. I just don't think Morikawa is going to be a flash in the pan. And some of these other guys too. I think we'll see Cameron Champ and Scheffler. These guys played really good under a very highly stressful situation, and they didn't blink.
All right, let's see. Looking at the final, let's see. Brooks Koepka, our boy Brooks the Bomber. He finished tied for 29th. Rory tied for 33rd, and Tiger Woods tied for 37th.
The Koepka thing was interesting to me too. That he had such a bad Sunday after he went out and kind of talked a little smack on Saturday night. Did you guys see that?
I didn't catch that. What did he do?
Well, did you catch this, B-Lab, where they were asking him about how he approached for the final day, and he said, well, I'm the guy that has experience out of all these guys. He said Dustin has been there before, but he's only won one.
Ooh.
Kind of sent a little shade, like he threw a little shade his way, talking a little junk. I don't know if it's like he was playing a head game, trying to, give himself a competitive edge, or if he was trying to get in Dustin's head. Those two guys are workout partners too. I mean, they're buddies. I was surprised to hear him say that. And Rory McIlroy didn't take too kind to it. Rory stood up for DJ later on and said, he didn't think that was kind of a gentlemanly thing to do. But then Koepka did not back it up at all. I mean, he wasn't even on TV the last 2 hours yesterday. He was out of it early. He was all over the place. Maybe he was having problems with his knee. I know he's had a left knee that's been bugging this season, but Koepka's kind of known for having a little bit of swagger and that confident air to him. But I was surprised to hear him say that about Dustin Johnson, just because I know the history of these two guys being in the gym together when they're out on tour and everything. So I don't know, threw a little shade and didn't back it up.
Yeah, because from what I've been noticing, these last few tournaments has been all about Bryson DeChambeau, and I almost want to say Koepka is pretty much for the most part taking a back seat, to what is Bryson DeChambeau. But here we go, man. We got a first-time winner, man. We got Colin Morikawa, and the image of him dropping that lid off the trophy. That's priceless. That goes down the history of fumble lights with the trophy. I mean, Lisa wasn't like that one soccer team that dropped the trophy and the bus ran over it. And
yeah, that was funny.
Yeah, that was the last. And from what it sounds like, fellas, and from what I've read going into the final round, it was crazy. But Colin Morikawa, 23 years old, comes out on top and wins his first major, the PGA Championship. All right, fellas, moving right along. We got the Stanley Cup Playoffs. We ain't going to talk about it too much. I'm just going to announce the matchup for the listeners' sake. And it goes a little something like this. In the Eastern Conference, we got the Flyers versus the Canadiens. And then we have Tampa Bay versus the Columbus Blue Jackets. Washington versus the Islanders. And a rematch of the Eastern Conference Finals, Boston versus the Carolina Hurricanes. Storm Surge. Watch out. Over in the West, we got the Las Vegas Golden Knights versus the Chicago Blackhawks, the Colorado Avalanche versus the Arizona Coyotes. I almost said Phoenix. And we have the Dallas Stars versus the Calgary Flames, and the reigning, defending Stanley Cup champions. They match up against the Vancouver Canucks. So, fellas, we got some playoff hockey. We have some playoff hockey, and I'm excited about that. Scottie D, he might not be so much because his Penguins got eliminated, as the almighty B-Live alluded to earlier. But the show, huh?
How's that? Yeah.
Hockey season is over.
Oh, man. But the show must go on. But can that be said about college football? Fellas, did we have this conversation about college football and coronavirus last week? I feel that we had this conversation. But guess what?
Fluid.
Huh?
Fluid. It's fluid.
Yes,
It's fluid.
yeah, that's the word of the day. Fluid. It is fluid. So, speaking of the fluidity of college football and coronavirus, there will be no college football season for the Mid-American Conference, aka the MAC Conference. It was early reported today, Monday, but we're on Tuesday, that there will be no college football in the Big Ten. But they said, that ain't quite final, not so yet. They said it's leaning towards that direction, but I think they have until 6 o'clock. It's 7 o'clock now. I hadn't heard anything, so as of right now, there's no official announcement about the college football season in the Big Ten. The University of Connecticut, they said, nah, we're not going to do football. Old Dominion University, they said, no, we're not going to have no fall sports. Fellas, it's a lot going on, man. We have some conferences that are starting anywhere between mid to late September. Fellas, what in the hell is going on with college football?
Well, here's my. All of us have concerns, especially when it comes to. These are kids, 18 to 21, 22 years old, and it's a lot to be said when the decisions that for them to play a sport is left in the hands of 50, 60, 70-year-old people. I don't know. I've heard the voice of the player. I've heard the voice of the college football player, and it's like, I want to say, just throwing a broad number out there, I want to say 85% of these guys want to play. They want to play. They feel like that the situation that they're in right now is much safer than what it is back at campus and back at home or stuff like that. And I'm going to pine on a little bit more, but I just wanted to start off with that premise that, are we listening to the players? Are we forming opinions on our own as athletic directors, college presidents, conference commissioners, and stuff like that? That's my disconnect right now. So, and I know all three of us have an opinion on what's going on, but I want to say this one statement real quick.
All roads lead to Dabo.
Wow.
Bam.
Wow.
Got it in there, baby. Got it in there.
We're going to get to that. We're going to get to that. You don't speak out of turn when it comes to my hashtag. Anyway, NCAA leadership, Mark Emmert, shame on you. Absolute shame. You've done nothing. You've done nothing in the form of leadership. Why are you being paid $3 million a year to be the governing body over college athletics, and you do nothing during all of this? No safety protocols, no like guidelines for colleges to follow. You literally just said, "Oh, this is not on me. I'm gonna put this on the college presidents." How do you possibly sit in your office and do nothing? But then you want to sanction this. You don't want kids to get paid for this, for their likeness or their image. You want to put these rules into play. But when these kids need leadership, these programs need a unified form of some type of standard to follow during this crisis that we're going through. You sit back and you do nothing. Shame, absolute shame. Disband the NCAA. Right now, you've proven that it has no worth, nothing whatsoever. The NCAA does nothing, absolutely nothing, and it sickens me.
Hot, 400 degrees. Scottie D, where you at on this, man?
I don't know how these guys are going to be able to figure out a way to do it in their own conference for the NCAA. I don't know. Remember when we saw late last year Deontay Wilder fight Tyson Fury, and His corner threw the towel in, and he was furious. Wilder's was furious because his cornerman threw it in. It was because his cornerman was trying to protect him from himself. So of course these kids are going to want to stand up and play. I think you have to protect them from themselves in this situation because, like I said, there is no real game plan from the NCAA of how to do this safely. It seems from the outside looking in like they're kind of winging it. We don't know the long-term ramifications of this virus. I mean, maybe these young guys get it, and then 5 years from now, something goes wrong with their hearts or their immune systems. I don't know. I mean, I'm not a doctor, and I don't know, enough about this virus because nobody really does. I think if you're one of the universities or even the conferences, you're putting yourself at a huge liability by just saying, well, let's go ahead and have it because the kids want to play, because they're having a movement saying, yeah, we want to play. Of course they want to play. They're young athletes and they love the sport. That's why they're there. I have a hard time with just saying, okay, let's go ahead and do it. They really want to. I mean, if that's what we're getting at, then we're not doing our due diligence as the university or conference. That's my opinion. And I'm like you guys. I love football. I want to watch them play, but maybe I'm not as hyped up about it because I'm a Pitt fan, and the only real meaningful wins we have are against Clemson. It doesn't really matter our seasons like Clemson does. And maybe Trevor Lawrence wants to play because he's going to be the first pick in the draft either way, and he had a bad last game. And he wants to go out and really nail it down this year, go undefeated, win a national championship. I get that, man. I think this is a situation where we kind of have to protect the players from themselves.
Well, see, okay, but let me just say this real quick because Scott, you actually made my point for me. It's not necessarily the fact that the powers that be are protecting the players from themselves. They haven't put anything together to protect the player, which is
because they don't know how to do it.
Here's the thing:
you can't put 100 college kids in a bubble like you do in the NBA.
Well, let me. You know what? I'll do one better. Michigan head coach Jim Harbaugh said in a statement that they have been at the football facility for 2 months now, and he laid down the statistics. And I want to actually pull it up. I want to see if I can actually pull up what he said real quick because it's very vital. He laid out all the stats and everything. And I'm trying to pull it up real quick, and he seems like to have a good grip on the situation.
Mm-hmm.
He's advocating for the football season because at the end of the day, he's going to be good. He's got a contract. He's going to get paid. He's going to be all right. But he's speaking on behalf of the kids that he understands there's long-lasting implications on where these kids don't get to play. And this is like literally when it comes to college athletics, especially on that level, that's their livelihood. They surround themselves with each other. They rarely ever, when it comes to class load and stuff like that, football players they're almost on a separate curriculum because of just what is required of the football player. Like their classes, they usually take the classes together, or they may do it remotely if they're on the road and everything, stuff like that. But I'm at a loss because I feel like that the leadership or lack thereof in the NCAA and the college presidents and the conference commissioners, they haven't given any guidelines. They have not set a standard. I feel like they did nothing.
It never happened before.
Yep, this is definitely uncharted territory as far as the future of college athletics, especially during this whole coronavirus pandemic. And what is I'll go as far as to say hey, we don't know is the normal natural reaction as right now because we don't know because as stated, there's no cure. There's no definitive means of, there's ways to work around it. I mean, look at the NHL. They've had 0 new reported cases. since going into the bubble. I haven't heard any numbers and news from the NBA, but they seem to have theirs on the handle too. And baseball, well, there ain't nowhere near getting a handle on theirs because we've already had not one but two series canceled due to the coronavirus pandemic. But the write-up, as you're referring to, B-Live, about Jim Harbaugh, he said the Michigan football program has had 11 positive tests out of 893 administered, including 3 upon initial return to campus. He said, we have 2 positive tests out of the last 417 administered. We have had 0 positive tests out of the last 353 administered. There have been 0 positive tests among the coaches or staff over the entire 8 weeks of testing. There's been no contract tracing to our fields, weight rooms, locker rooms, or facilities. We've had 0 pauses in our training. We've complied to the CDC guidelines. He goes on and on and on about what they've done in order to, hey, look, this is what we're doing. This is clearly what we're doing. He goes on to say, we have developed a great prototype for how we can make this work and provide the opportunity for players to play. If you are transparent and follow the rules, this is how it can be done. He later went on to say, hashtag we want to play, hashtag we want to coach. I get it, but as we've all stated, it's at the point now it becomes a liability issue.
Which players have also said that they're willing to sign liability waivers.
Yep, and that's the whole thing. Like, when you have to look at it now, like you have to. Here's how we have to look at the world now. If you decide to travel from state to state, you do realize that potentially you could become, infected with the COVID-19. And if you realize that and you say yes and you keep going, all right. And if you say no and stay your butt home, all right. But as long as you know that there's potential and you think that you can deal with it and be fine, then at this point, it's all on the individual. But then again, the thing about this, fellas, I understand both points. And I'm torn because, yes, I want my college football, but no, I don't want these guys to get sick.
And I think we're all in agreement that we don't want the guys to get sick. Mm-hmm. But we're literally taking their choice out of their hands, which is what I have a problem with. They haven't done enough to have any type of uniformity so that there is a stable environment across the board. Yes, I applaud Jim Harbaugh because they seem to have gotten it right. But why is there no uniformity? Why was there no standard set for all of these conferences, for all of these programs? NCAA has one job. They are the governing body. What's the acronym stand for? The National
Collegiate Athletic. Yeah, the National Collegiate Athletic Association.
They have one job.
One? Like 1,000 jobs.
They're the governing body. They're the governing body of college athletics.
What'd you say, Scottie D?
So there's 1,000 sports and 1,000 schools. It's more than just one job. It's a lot.
They've done zero. They've done zero.
Okay, well then if they have, then they no matter whose fault it is, no matter why you want to play, there's still a pandemic.
Tell you.
And to put these guys out there, this is just one of those situations that sucks. I mean, it really sucks. And I just think I can't see. I mean, maybe Michigan goes into the season perfectly healthy and they play one team who has 2 or 3 infections and now they're infected and the whole thing was for no reason. Then you got to cancel games. I mean, it's a highly contagious virus that's going around, and we're not, as a country, we're not doing very well in controlling it and getting better. So now we're going to say, well, it's okay. College football can do it. No, it's not that simple.
Here's the thing.
Was it New Zealand? They pretty much have they have some of the lowest numbers in the world. New Zealand does, if I'm not mistaken.
Nobody travels to New Zealand, so I get that part.
Well,
but here's this is the issue that I have. I'm all for the safety of the player. I'm all for not jeopardizing their careers or their health long term. I'm all for that. I understand your point to its entirety, Scottie D. The problem that I have is the fact that there are people in positions in place that's supposed to govern college athletics, and they have done no such thing. They've governed nothing. So guess what? It's a, hey, free for all. You figure this part out for yourselves. You figure that part out for yourselves. They made no decisions. They made no guidelines. They made no specifications. They gave nothing to the college athletics that they're supposed to govern. Mark Emmert makes $3 million a year. What exactly is he doing?
Trying to figure out ways to make money without really trying to do work.
What exactly is he doing? And you literally took the decision out of the player's hand, because guess what? They don't have a union. You took the decision out their hand. They had no say so in this whatsoever. But you want to make, but you literally made millions off of these players' backs, and now when they need you the most, you don't even listen to them. That's the problem I have.
And then aren't the players are trying to come together and make it like a student athlete players union?
They're trying to, because they are literally seeing that they're not being heard. This has gone way beyond paying the college athlete. It's literally to the point where, dude, you're not listening to them at all. Like,
well, you know who does get listened to and who does have a union? Major League Baseball. And this week, the Pirates and Cardinals are not playing because they can't play because of coronavirus infection. That's the bottom line, is there's going to be an infection, no matter how. I don't know how the NFL thinks they're going to play. What the NFL should do is take a look at the model that the NBA and the NHL have done with their bubble and do it team by team. Say, if you're going to play this season, you're not leaving our facility here in Pittsburgh. You're going to be here. And if you test positive, you're out until you're able to put together negative tests. Make it like a isolated team bubble, and then team bubble plays other team bubble. I mean, and I think they should shorten the season to about 10 games so they have more buys in between to make up games they're going to miss, because that's what the baseball's having a problem with. They're never going to get all their games in because they're having to cancel games. This is a situation like we've never seen before.
I agree with you.
There's no model to follow in any of the sports. Everything is different and up in the air. But as far as a college kid goes, you can't let him out there. I don't think you can. And that sucks, because I want to, I was really looking forward to watching Pitt beat Clemson.
That wasn't going to happen.
Ooh.
Yeah. And South Carolina, they were probably going to beat them too this
year.
Wow,
so you off the chain right now.
Yeah.
So, okay, listeners, if you're noticing a trend right now, Scottie D is not making any sense in anything that he's saying, especially with those last two statements. So
I got poison ivy.
Yeah, you got the ivy poisoned your brain.
Oh boy,
I got poison ivy. Leave me alone. I'm sensitive.
You sensitive, all right. Ladies and gentlemen, also thank goodness that this is a radio program, because Scottie D has a face for radio right now without a shadow of a doubt. I just saw it. It was horrifying.
Next week, my face will look better. Yours is still going to be the same.
Shots fired. Shots fired. Pow, pow, pow. Lord, let me put my show back on the tracks, because we went from talking about coronavirus to you show is ugly. You got poison on the brain. You making outlandish statements. Oh, man. Welcome to the SportsBros Sports and Comedy Hour, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, do not put your car in the ditch messing with us on your way to work, because guess what? I ain't got the money to pay for it. You choose to listen. But, fellas, we're going to wrap up this here college football and coronavirus. Oh, go ahead, Scott.
Let's wrap it up.
Yeah, we're just gonna wrap it up and just get the hell up out of there. What could this mean for the NFL? I don't know, because in less than 30 days, I would usually be excited about the football season, fellas, but I'm not gonna lie to you, not really, because with everything's going on, I don't know what to look forward to.
You know what's gonna happen to the NFL? The NFL is gonna play, because guess what? Their players have rights. They have the opt-out clause. That's the problem right now with college athletics. They've literally given these kids no rights. Because right now, kids, either want to play or they don't want to play, but almost don't have an option, because the schools can just start pulling freaking scholarships. Yep. We talked about that before, but now it's like just starting to, with the wheels turning, bruh. Like this is, but once again, it goes back to those standards. goes back to, hey, let's redshirt. Let's give them an extra year of eligibility. Why is these things not being said? They're being said by the players. That's why they're trying to form a union. But the powers that be ain't said nothing? Yeah. All right, go ahead. And you think it's safer just to cancel the season and say the heck with it? And you're saying the heck with a lot of players' careers? Joe Burrow, your Heisman winner, your national champion from the LSU Tigers, said these exact words. I feel bad for the players this year because if this would have happened the last year, I would be looking for a job.
And he did say that. I remember him reading it.
Yeah. Yep. It's unfortunate. It just, like I said, it sucks. It's sometimes things you have to chalk up to. It really sucks.
Yeah, it really sucks. But guess what doesn't suck? The choices of the voices section.
Hold on, hold on. I can't leave. I got to finish up because Scott opined to it earlier, and I didn't get back to it. All roads lead to Dabo. Trevor Lawrence, out of all of the college players in college football right now, literally has the most to lose by playing this year. He's presumed the number one draft pick in the NFL. He doesn't have to do a thing, has nothing to prove. Absolutely nothing to prove. The kid wants to play. He has nothing to prove. And yet you don't hear him? He's the voice of the voiceless right now. Why? Tell me why he doesn't have any rights. Tell me, if you could explain that, because he's literally
there's a virus,
and Scott, you keep saying that there's a virus out there. He has the most to lose. He has absolutely nothing to gain by playing this year.
Pandemic.
Yeah, it's a whole lot going on, fellas. But guess what? We finna put a button on this. And speaking of button, hey, yo, button, hit it.
And now, our favorite part of the show, the choices of the voices.
Once again, thank you to the wonderful and lovely Miss Button for introducing our favorite part of the show, the choices of the voices. Look, we damn near 70-plus episodes in, and she ain't lying. She ain't got no reason, right, or clarification to lie. Don't know where the hell clarification came from, but that's neither here nor there. Enough of me rambling. Scottie D, what was the question for this week's Choices of the Voices?
All right. Well, before I announce the question, I just want to apologize to Be Live for burying him so bad on that last segment. Anyway, okay, so the question of the week for the Choice of the Voices I asked last week, what pro athlete did you feel saw his career potential robbed by injuries? And a lot were near and dear to our listeners' hearts because we got a ton of responses this week, Eddy Kool.
And I was able to squeeze everybody in.
We're going to squeeze something else in because you ain't just going to start off your segment by sneaking in a little jab at me. You did not destroy me at all, sir. Let's get the facts straight. You know what? Listeners, we'll leave it up to you. This is the precursor to the Money Man versus the Almighty Be Live. We'll leave it up to you. Eddy Kool, Amtrak this thing.
I apologize.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you're interested in listening to the Money Man Scottie D versus the Almighty Be Live, send us some questions because that is a must-have show because they're going to kill each other before it's all said and done. Move right along. We got Craig Burns. He said Bobby Orr of the Boston Bruins. Bobby Orr only played 9 years, if I'm not mistaken, right? He only played 9 years in the NHL. Still one of the greats. Mark Olds, he said, obviously, Bo Jackson. Then he said David Wright of the Mets, Michael Irvin, and Troy Aikman. All right. The big boss man, Bruce Diamond, he said Don Mattingly. Amy Woodworth, she said Andrew Luck. Ryan Rubelski, he said Sean Taylor of the Washington Redskins. Terrible! Pete Talansky, he said, here's a throwback. Yankees injury never made it story. Brian Taylor, Brien Taylor for the Yankees. JR Speaks, friend to the show, he said Marcus Lattimore and Bobby Hurley. So we got quite a few there, fellas. Quite a few good ones, especially Scott. You know, you a Yankees fan. Do you know about Brian Taylor?
I remember watching him pitch once when he was must have been a rookie, first or second. I don't think he ever got a full season in, but I can remember how excited that the organization was about that kid, and he just never made it because of injuries. And as far as the Mike Irvin, Troy Aikman one, you know, I don't feel like they were robbed too much of their career because both those injuries, came after they were probably getting towards the end of their career anyway. Just as a Cowboy fan, I thought I'd throw that in there. Aikman was when he probably didn't have much time left. Mike Wervin had that terrible neck injury that in Philadelphia all the Eagles fans clapped for, and that was classless, as Eagles fans are often. But they didn't get robbed too much. I think if you look back on their career, they could say that they both had pretty good.
Well, like three Super Bowl wins, gold jacket, Hall of Fame. I think they're all right. I think they're all right. Yeah, I'm just saying.
I think Mark is coming from the aspect of like we've of them having of them riding off into the sunset on their own terms. I think that's where he's coming from instead of being forced out.
Oh. Gotcha. I can understand that, but yeah. To Scottie D's point, they still have very fulfilled careers. When Smooth, our brother JR, when he mentioned too that really hit home. Mm-hmm. Like I'm a Clemson fan, but Marcus Lattimore is definitely one of the most stand-up people that I've had the pleasure of watching play, and just the person that he is outside of sport is like second to none. Mm-hmm. He could have been amazing in the NFL, but injuries definitely. Bobby Hurley, I've had the luxury. I actually went to a basketball camp with Bobby Hurley. He taught me how to shoot a basketball, and so I'm talking about that's just literally my entire childhood playing basketball. I contribute to Bobby Hurley. So and just he.
What do you have? Have an automobile accident or something? Is that what happened?
Yeah. Yep. He had car horrible car accident.
Williams from Duke also had like a motorcycle injury or something right when he got into the league too. So a couple Dukies there snake bitten from that auto accident. I'd forgotten about Hurley's accident though.
Yep, that's what happened to him. He had a motorcycle accident. Moving right along, Stacey Owens. She said, "What about Nancy Kerrigan?" That's a good one. Yeah, we saw what was, and we never knew what could have been Nancy Kerrigan. That's a good one, Stacey. Matty Ice, Martin Tracy. He says Donald Magic Vincent Makowski, a.k.a. Don Magowski, the Magic Man. All right. Len Bias, Penny Hardaway, Kerry Wood. He said, okay, this is my pick. The number one, the Nigerian Nightmare, Christian Okoye. Talk about unstoppable. Every defensive player feared this man. I was stationed in Kansas City and watched all of their games from 89 to 92. Just look at this guy. He leaves a picture of him. He said, just look at this guy. He said, I think he had the biggest shoulder pads in the NFL history. The Nigerian Nightmare. I can't. Oh, go ahead, Scottie D.
I say he was a big boy.
Oh yeah. Man, there's no doubt about that.
Yeah, just large, 35. Goggles on, big pads. Like, man, what you got in there? He got on like what? Pickup. He had like a pickup truck for shoulder pads. Like, what in the hell? I've never seen pads that big in my life, and I played football. Like, are you serious? All right, we got Mike McCrowski. What's going on, buddy? He said Ken Griffey Jr. Yeah, man, Griffey was good, man, until he just he had 3 or 4 seasons where he got hurt.
Yeah, his was like a 2-part career. Like the Seattle career was that was the Hall of Fame material career, and then Cincinnati just never could really stay healthy. It was kind of sad.
Yeah, it was, man. Because my opinion, I'll say it once, and I say it till I'm blue in the face. If he never got hurt, the home run record would have been his.
Very possibly.
Oh, absolutely. That because injuries. Like we were saying, he stripped them about almost 4 full seasons.
Yep, because think about it, he hurt his wrist in Seattle. And then I remember he had hamstring issues and knee issues during his tenure in Cincinnati. It was never the same. He was never the same. But at least his last game he played in Seattle before he retired, he did get a home run. So at least he did go out in style. So that's if you're gonna go out, that's a good way to go out. Joe Gafkin, what's going on, Joe? He said Sean Taylor was on his way to becoming the best safety of all times. Hashtag hail to the potato skin. HTTPS. Joe, crazy dude, man, crazy dude. Uncle Max, he said Sterling Sharp and Billy Sims were pretty darn good. Listen, to the viewers the listeners out there, the next time you go on YouTube, look up the Thanksgiving game between the Green Bay Packers and the Dallas Cowboys. I think it was 1994, if I'm not mistaken, and just sit back. It's a good game to rewatch, but just sit back and watch Sterling Sharp just go to work. If it wasn't for that neck injury, Jerry Rice, you would have been in trouble playing, because at the time it was already, Jerry Rice was the man, and Sterling Sharp was slowly apexing. Like he was on his heels. He was on his heels. Go game.
Oh, there was like a big four. It was like those two, and then Andre Rison and Michael Irvin were like the stud receivers of that era. But Sterling Sharp, when he was playing as good as he could play, man, he was as good as any of them. I hated watching what happened to him go down, because he was fun to watch.
Yeah, man, good old Sterling Sharp, aka Shea Sharp brother. Yep. So, yeah, man, if you had a chance to hear that story, man, he had an interview on another podcast called the Up and Smoke podcast. I'm sorry, All the Smoke podcast, and to hear the upbringing between him and Shannon Sharp was very, very good, man. Some good stuff. All right, we got a new one here. We got Don Shoop. What's going on, Don Shoop? He said Bo Jackson would have been a Hall of Famer, first ballot in both sports. I know lies detected here, player. Very possibly be argued as the best football player to play had his career extended to an end. As we know, Bo Jackson got hurt by a tackle. It did something to his hip, and his hip was never the same since. Yep, Bo Jackson.
He's kind of the poster boy for this question, pretty much.
Yeah, Bo Jackson. I heard Bo Jackson killed a deer with his bare hands. He went to the deer, punched it in the face, man. He was strong, too. Punched the deer in the face, man. That's Bo Jackson. I'm like, bow and arrow. Bo, this is a front, man. Go there and knock that deer out, man. What you doing? They say he was strong, man. They say he was strong. Yeah, man, Bo Jackson was knocking out deers and stuff. Dinner time. All right, Mike Davis, he said the aforementioned Bo Jackson, Mario Lemieux, and Larry Johnson. With Larry Johnson, I'm thinking either Larry Johnson that played for the Chiefs and was good for a little bit, or Grandmama. But both of them, if they hadn't got injured or, ran into some unfortunate circumstances, they could have been great. So we finally got one for number 66, Scottie D's Mario Lemieux.
Yeah, Lemieux actually got cancer and missed like 20-some games and still led the league in scoring. That's how good he was when he was on the top of his game. But he was always injury-riddled. And so was Crosby, really. I mean, both of our big stars, Crosby with the concussions, but both guys lost considerable time. But they both got their Stanley Cups to their name, so they didn't completely miss out on their careers. But, yeah, definitely they could have been there's some meat left on the bone with both of those guys.
Yep, exactly. William Jarger, he said Grant Hill. Okay, Grant Hill. Yeah. Yes,
absolutely.
That was one of the ones I was thinking of, actually, when I wrote this question or asked this question last week, because a young Grant Hill, the sky was the limit for that guy, and I think he was having feet problems. Wasn't that the main thing? It was butts?
Ankle. Yeah, foot and ankle issues.
Yeah,
foot and ankle issues.
Basketball player.
Yeah, foot and ankle issues. And I thought that bought him like another 3 or 4 more seasons. Yeah, with the injuries. No fun, man. Those injuries are no fun. Then we got Joe Comfort, also known as the best name in the business. He said so many to choose from between Gale Sayers, Super Mario, Billy Sims, Earl Campbell, and all that come to mind. Gale Sayers, he retired. Did he get injured? He just retired early.
He only played, I think, 6 years. I think he was had some injuries as well.
Yep.
But Earl Campbell was sure. Man, he took a beating in his short career also.
Yeah, he just took a beating, like a pounding. And then we got Billy Sims. That's another one for Billy Sims. Tom Wynn, he said number 1, Bobby Orr. Number 2, Joe Namath. And number 3, Gale Sayers. Okay. Right. Even though Broadway Joe did win a Super Bowl, I would say like some of these answers are kind of like, if they didn't get injured or they apex too early, what could have been. I think that's where they come from with that. Let's see. Brian Judkins, Tater Head, what's happening, baby? He said Len Bias, death is an injury, right? Yeah, of course. Then he said RG3, Bo Jackson, Penny Hardaway, Grant Hill, Robert Edwards. You guys remember Robert Edwards? Beach football, tore his leg up for the Patriots.
Yeah.
Yep. Greg Oden, Bobby Hurley, Sterling Sharp, and Derrick Rose.
I think that's the first mention for Derrick Rose. And That
Yeah.
absolutely is a like that. That's I think Derrick Rose, out of all the basketball players that have been mentioned, I think he was the next big thing. I saw him as a more athletic Allen Iverson.
Yeah.
And then
I think
like literally like his ceiling was the roof, as Michael Jordan said.
The what? Okay, with your dad jeans on her.
But D Rose,
Rob.
Greg Oden. Greg Oden, I'm not so sure. Yes, he's definitely injury prone, but
He never really got a chance, though.
That's what I'm saying. He just came off hurt. It's like so maybe that's the premise of the question, because we never really saw it.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
No, the interesting case of Greg Oden's and the world's worst set of knees on a 7-footer. And then an RG3. Oh my God.
I'm going to say this right here about RG3. I'm a little biased because I did not understand the comparison that they said that RG3 was going to be better than Cam Newton. Are you kidding me? I never saw it, so I was a little biased about RG3. But the potato skins, the WTFs, they just don't know how to take care of people. And
Trent Williams, RG3, who else? Albert Hainsworth gave him a big old contract.
Alex Smith.
Oh my God.
Well, didn't Joe Theismann play for the?
Yep. Joe Theismann.
Same exact injury that Alex Smith had.
So on the same day, same time or something. So it was creepy as hell.
Like you might have named your team after and put the field on ancient Indian burial ground or something.
You've been cursed.
That's what I'm just saying.
You've been cursed. Will Berry, another favorite to the SportsBros podcast, he said Drazen Petrovic.
Yeah, the shooter for the Nets.
Yeah.
I think he didn't he made the mistake of talking trash to Jordan too, and Jordan cooked him.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, Drazen Petrovic. Yeah, man. Unfortunately, he got killed in a car accident. Yeah, he was that dude, man. He was that dude. Those European guys between him and Detlef Schrempf and a lot of those guys, man, were good, man. But it would have been really interesting to see like what could have been as far as Drazen Petrovic went.
Hey, didn't Bobby Phills also die in a car accident?
Bobby, I think he did. Bobby Phills died. Yep, for the Hornets, he died of a car accident too. And I think did Malik Sealy die too? Yeah, man. A lot of these, something about NBA players and car accidents, man. Wild stuff. Wild stuff, man. We got a new one. Her name is Debbie. Debbie Frenchie. Yes, I did not butcher her name.
That's my Aunt Debbie.
Huh?
That's my Aunt Debbie.
Hey, Aunt Debbie. Hey.
Nice.
Hey, Uncle Max and Aunt Debbie. Hey, Aunt Debbie. Aunt Debbie said, Uncle Jack said, Kajana Carter from Penn State.
They're big Penn State fans, and Carter's another guy that never lived up to the potential with his injuries as well. That's a good answer.
He had a big old head, too.
Wow.
He did.
But I mean, it's nothing in comparison to your head.
Look, unlike Kajana Carter, I got hair on my head to cover all my skull. You know what I'm saying? He was just the boy had a big head. He was good in college, but the boy had a big head. But yeah, he was just another one of those unfortunate situations. First round draft pick?
Yeah,
first round draft pick and just petered out. Never amounted to be nothing. And that's sad, man. That's sad. These guys get picked so high and fall so low so fast.
Just saying that your head is so big, it's in your nickname.
Shut up, little Bill. Moving right along. Monique Adams. Hey, Monique. She said Grant Hill and Adrian Peterson. So that's another one for Grant Hill. And then Adrian Peterson, who was, after he tore that ACL, he came back with a vengeance. But ever since then, it's been choppy for AP. It's been choppy. It's been real choppy. What do you think, Foz? What do y'all think about Adrian Peterson?
Yeah, and then he had the suspension kind of interrupted his career, and
Mm,
then he spent like a week with the Saints and a week with the Cardinals, and
yeah.
the rest had about 30 running backs last year. But if the Vikings didn't give up on him so early, he might still just be rolling with them. You never know.
I 100% agree with that. But then again, it's such a touchy subject. So I mean, they make personnel decisions, but he's definitely one of those that have injury and poor life choice decision making might have disrupted his career ever so slightly.
Yeah. I mean, he did say he's 34 years old. He said, "Look, I'm trying to catch Emmett. Oh boy, it's gonna be. Well, Darius Geis ain't there no more to get in the way, but that's
Oh
another
boy,
story for another day. A story for another day. I didn't tell you about putting your hands on girls. Mark Fine, he said Mario Lemieux, he had cancer twice and major back surgery. Hey man,
Yep.
Mario Lemieux, man, one of the greats, man. One of the greats. He
well,
overcame it, man. Overcame it.
hockey players are built different, so that's
Yeah.
there's a next level of toughness when it comes to hockey players. So yeah,
No.
Oh, off topic, fellas. You know what I watched like a few before I went to work yesterday? Hockey fights. Because I got inspired by that Justin Williams and the guy fighting from the Rangers. I said, let me look at some hockey fights. I wound up watching some of the old school enforcers like Joe Kocur from the Red Wings, and one of the OG best brawlers of all time, Bob Probert.
He the OG.
Yeah, he just yeah. If you want to fight somebody, yeah.
Nobody wanted Probert.
No, you don't. Bob Probert just fought because him and Kocur, they made the Bruise Brothers in Detroit in like the late '80s, early '90s. What's another guy? Big dude played for the Jeff Bookaboom. He was beating up people too.
Marty McSorley was another.
Yep, Marty McSorley. I think I saw some Todd Gill and Ty Domi. Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
Whew, yeah. Like if I'm going to battle, I'm taking all of them. Come on, let's go. But R.I.P. to Bob Probert, man. But Bob Probert was he was a head buster, as the kids say. Well, guess what, fellas? That's it. So shout out to Craig, Mark, Bruce, Amy, Ryan, Pete, Jr., Stacy, Matty Ice, Mike, Joe Gaffigan, Uncle Max, Don, Mike Davis, William, Joe Comfort, the best name in the business, Tom Wynn, Brian Judkins, Will Berry, and Aunt Debbie, Monique, and Mark for their participation in this week's Choices of the Voices. That was a good version, fellas. I like that. Now the question, I'm going to pivot to Money Man Scottie D. Who was the best that could have been but never panned out?
You know what? Well, like I said, I had Grant Hill on my mind. Kerry Wood was a good one. I think Matty Ice picked up Kerry Wood. Mm-hmm. He looked like a phenom as a rookie. Then there's a couple I featured in the picture. Yao Ming was the guy who always had the foot problems, and Eric Lindros always had the concussion problems. Mm-hmm. There's a guy, I don't know if you guys have ever seen the story of this guy that pitched for the Detroit Tigers in the late 70s named Mark Fidrich. They called him the Bird. And I remember him just because at that time in my life as a young guy, I was collecting baseball cards. And I had the Fidrich baseball card.
The name sounds familiar.
So Mark Fidrich in 1976 was the American League Rookie of the Year for the Detroit Tigers. He was 6'3", lean, mean. He was 19-9 as a rookie. He was a real eccentric character, but he created like this phenomenon, like you would see with Fernando Valenzuela a few years after that with this. He created this hysteria because he was so good. So in 1976, he was a Rookie of the Year. The following year, he was messing around in the outfield in spring training, hurt his knee in 77, but he still ended up coming back and playing. And on the 4th of July, he said his arm went dead. That's kind of how he put it. It wasn't until 1985 they discovered what that meant, and that was a torn rotator cuff. So this dude pitched out the rest of that season. He ended up being 6-4 with an ERA under 2 that year, and then he just could never get it going again in 70. So basically, he had a really one good year of his career, and then like he was kind of a strange cat, and he had a strange ending too. He passed away in 2009. He was under a truck, working on a truck, and I think his clothes got hung up on something, and I think got strangled by that. He was only 54 years old when he died. He was a young guy, but if you ever go back and look at videos, I mean, Mark the Bird Fidrich was like a guy who he kind of looked like Randy Johnson, a right-handed Randy Johnson in the early days, but Mark the Bird never was able to get going. And isn't that crazy that a torn rotator cuff is something that you look at all the time in baseball now, but it took them from 1977 to 1985 to diagnose it. So that was a guy whose name I just wanted to throw out there because no one else had mentioned him.
Crazy,
Yep.
yeah. B-Live, who you got?
I'm gonna keep mine very simple because he wasn't mentioned and near and dear to my heart. And his career definitely was shortened, and it hurt. Luke Kuechly. Simple. Jesus. Like he would have broken every record. I think tackles, just being a field general and just on the defensive side, the way he used to dissect plays and then just concussion after concussion. And like even when he announced his retirement, even when one of the concussions, he just broke down in tears. It just hurt. Mm-hmm. It hurt to my core. And I don't think there's one person in this world that could say that the potential of Luke Kuechly and his career cut short. Honorable mention Andrew Luck, and then there's a lot of well placed names out there, but just the amount of potential cut short, and just understanding that there's life outside of sports to the point of, you know what I'm saying, hey, I'm not 100%. I give kudos to people like that because at the end of the day, I mean, there is more to life than sports. And knowing that you're not 100% able to do the sport that you love, I my hat's off to Luke Kuechly.
Ooh, wow. Yeah, I can't deny that one. I remember sitting in my living room and I was like, matter of fact, it was this year, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was
back in February.
back in February.
Yeah, man. Think about it. You know, Luke Kuechly retired in 2020. Like, Kobe died first, got killed in a plane crash. Australia was on fire. Luke Kuechly retired, and now this mess we got coronavirus, murder hornets, and all this other mess. It's just 2020. You can go straight to hell. Mm-hmm. You can go straight to hell. 2021, come in here and act like you got some doggone sense. But yeah, man, Luke Kuechly was definitely him, Patrick Willis. A few guys that had all the potential in the world was like, yeah, you know what? I'm going to cut this short, man, because these injuries are going to get to me, CTE, and life. Matter of fact, I remember I had a conversation with former cornerback Dante Robinson, and he said, I got kids. I gave 9 years in the league. He said either I continue to play and risk injury and not be able to pick up my kids, or leave while the getting is good. He said, because, from a financial standpoint, I ain't trying to tell his business, but, he was good. He didn't have to worry about, that. So, he's good with his money. So, hey, sometimes you got to know when to walk away. Fellas, I put some thought into this. And, we got an obvious like Bo and Yao and Kerry Wood and Eric Lindros. But one of the guys I think that we could have seen more out of, even though, he's a quarterback and he did pass for 24,000 yards, I think we didn't see all of Dante Culpepper. All of Dante Culpepper. Because I don't know, B-Live, if you remember, that week where the Minnesota Vikings made a trip to Charlotte and his knee got injured, and then that was it. That was it for Dante Culpepper. I mean, I think he was a victim of what they call the Madden curse, if I'm not mistaken.
That does sound right.
Yeah, man, because he finished his career with 149 touchdowns, 106 INTs, over 24,000 yards passing, 34 rushing touchdowns, 2,000 rushing yards. His story was real interesting, man. He was a big dude, man. He was a big dude coming out of small college. 6'4", 260, coming out of a very small college, Central Florida University. Before UCF was on the map, they were a blip on the radar. So, he had a prominent role and bringing that to prominence, bringing that university to prominence. And man, he was fun to watch, man. He had a cannon, and he had a dude by the name of Randy Moss. And I just think that had he would not have gotten hurt, I think Dante Culpepper would have been top 5 in the league at that point in time in the mid-2000s.
Yeah. They were even touting him to be a Super Bowl contender that first year he was down there. And I think that's where he had his major injury, right?
Where? No, he had his first major injury back in 2005 as a member of the Vikings.
He was, okay.
Yeah, because that following year, he had a career year. He threw for 4,000 yards, 39 touchdowns, and his passer rating was like a career high of 110. So he had a really, really good season that year. They got him that Madam cover, and then the following year he was on pace to do good, but then he injured that knee. Well, he actually had a rocky start. 6 touchdowns, 12 interceptions, and once that knee injury happened, that was it. And then he bounced around between Oakland and Detroit. And, he had one decent year in Detroit, and that was it. But I think had Dante Culpepper not gotten hurt, we could have seen a whole hell of a lot more out of Dante Culpepper. So I picked Dante Culpepper. B-Live picked Luke Kuechly. And Scottie D, what's his name? Fidrich?
Mark the Bird Fidrich.
Yeah, Mark the Bird Fidrich. And that's it for another edition of Choices of the Voices. But before we go, Scottie D, what's the question to next week's Choices of the Voices?
Okay, so next week we're going to ask, out of all of the sports personalities that you come across, TV, radio, podcast, etc., whose opinion do you respect or value the most? And just for the sake of it, don't pick the SportsBros because we know you love us.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of different media outlets. You got Fox Sports 1, in addition to ESPN, all the sports networks, college networks. Who do you listen to that you say, man, now that's somebody I really want to listen to because I respect what they say and I really value their opinion. You get the guys that are most well-known, Stephen A., Max, Skip, Shannon, all these guys. Sometimes I get a little, it becomes white noise after a while. You hear all the arguing and stuff, but every once in a while you come across someone out there who you say, that's the person I really want to listen to. I used to feel that way about, on Major League Baseball I used to feel that way about Peter Gammons. I'm sorry, I was drawing a blank on his name there for a second, but he's one of those guys back in the day, whenever he was talking baseball, I would say, man, anything this guy says opinion-wise, I put a lot of stock into it. So there's a lot to choose from, like I said, from a lot of different outlets. There's a lot of clowns out there, a lot of guys just for show. You'll never hear that on the SportsBros podcast because we are top of the line here. But what sports personality out there do you really respect? And that's what we're going to talk about next week.
Guys, hold on one second. I got a guest. He's sitting right beside me. He's been chomping at the bit to get in. Ladies and gentlemen, making his debut on the SportsBros podcast, ESPN analyst Kendrick Perkins. How you doing, Kendrick? What's going on, man? Welcome to the SportsBros podcast. Eddy Kool, what's going on, man? It's really an honor to be here on the SportsBros podcast with yourself, as well as the almighty B-Live and the money man, Scottie D. I'm going to just tell you right now, all y'all wrong as hell. Kendrick, how you just going to come on the show and just cuss us out? Because I want all the smoke. Go ahead. What? Go ahead, Molly. Go ahead, Molly. Kendrick, Molly's not here. What
yeah. He's not going to be my answer next week.
Not even close. Oh God.
I want all the smoke, Kendrick. It's been a pleasure, bro. Thank you.
He getting a stuttering, and I'm like, man. Go ahead, Ma. Go ahead.
Go ahead, Ma. Yep. Ladies and gentlemen, Kendrick Perkins with a very brief cameo on the SportsBros podcast. And guess what? We finna get up out of here because pretty soon we're gonna be watching some wrestling. Scottie won't be watching no Penguins, but he'll figure something out. He ain't got no Penguins. He got no Penguins to watch.
I'm sensitive. Nice to me. I'm sensitive. I have poison ivy.
Hey, look.
All right.
I have no joke. Scottie D is ladies and gentlemen, just say a prayer for Scottie D. He got poison ivy on his booty crack. No, I'm joking. He got poison ivy. His Pirates keep on serving him turd burgers left and right. His Pittsburgh Penguins have been eliminated for the playoffs. So, ladies and gentlemen, please send some gifts, some kind words to the Money Man, Scottie D, and Carol, the SportsBros podcast. And I'm going to rummage through it first, but I'll make sure to get to them. If it's cookies, you can forget about it. Moving right along, we finna go home. And guess what? We got a round of pepper. That's right. We talk about 3 topics, rapid fire style, kind of, sort of, not really. But in the spirit of, I like this whole historian thing I'm doing, so I'm going to keep on doing it. We ready, fellas?
Yes.
All right. Clap it up. Here we go. On this day in history, back in 1919, George Calhoun and Curly Lambeau founded the Green Bay Packers Football Club. That would be GBFC, correct? All right. Green Bay Packers Football Club, named after the Indian Packing Company. So on this day, back in 1919, the Packers were born. Over to you, Scottie D.
And they kept that name all these years.
Yep.
All right, in the spirit of the PGA here and the big championship weekend, I came across this golf story that took place on the 29th of July. It was the Maine State Golf Association Junior Championship. On the final hole of this tournament, Caleb Manuel and Armand Ouellette were tied on the fairway when Armand Ouellette hit his ball onto the green. He then would putt for an eagle, and he would not win the tournament. Now, how is that possible? It's because Caleb Manuel, from 193 yards out, bounced one onto the green and in for an albatross, a double eagle. According to the PGA website, an albatross is made once out of every 6 million shots. Can you imagine losing one that weekend? Losing that way? But Ouellette had also had an opportunity to go up on the 17th hole. He missed 2 short putts to go to a bogey, which led to that tie. But man, I can't imagine putting for an eagle on the final hole and knowing you had just seen what he just saw to win that tournament. Over to you, B Live.
That hurt.
Yeah.
Jesus. I mean, wow. Tie, you putt for eagle.
And make it.
You know, like, come on. You got this. And he double eagles, holds it out. Man. Yeah, all right. And with Eddy Kool and his historical sense and everything, I'm going to go with some historical figures too, because the highly publicized exhibition match between Mike Tyson and Roy Jones Jr. has been postponed from September 12th to November 28th.
Oh, man.
Darn. We're delaying the inevitable. Maybe gives Roy Jones Jr. a little bit more time to get in shape. And hopefully Mike Tyson doesn't tear his head off in an exhibition match. $49.99. Not going to happen. Eddy Kool, the ball.
You pay $1,500. I pay $49.99. Nothing. All right. Here we go. On this day in history, back in 1951, the first televised baseball game live and in Technicolor, to steal a phrase from the late great flying Brian Pillman, on WCBS in New York City was a baseball game, and it featured the Boston Braves and the Brooklyn Dodgers, and the Boston Braves beat the Brooklyn Dodgers 8-1 in color. So you get to see the Dodgers frown even more uglier in color. Over to you, Scottie D.
All right. This one is a little bit of an irritation for me more than the poison ivy because it's about the Pittsburgh Pirates. So,
oh boy, here we go.
For a second, because we talked a little bit last week about Zion getting held on the minutes restriction, and I know that it's, as a baseball manager, you have to do that. I hate hearing the words "not available" when you talk about your bullpen.
Oh.
And Dick Shelton, the Pirates manager, keeps saying "not available" when he talks about the bullpen. Now listen to this, guys. Nick Birdie threw 11 pitches on the first Sunday of the season. The following day, he was not available out of the bullpen. He got his first. He came out and blew the guys away from St. Louis with 11 pitches. Next day, not available. Okay, later in the week, available. Again, blows away the Brewers. Gets his first save. Sunday, he's warming up for the 10th inning in Chicago, and it rains. he doesn't get to come back out because he warmed up. Not available. On Monday, he pitches, and on Tuesday, he was out for the season. They completely protected this guy. He wasn't available, and he still hurts himself and is out for the season. Now, to make things even worse, Phillip Evans of the Pirates has been a surprise this year. He's batting .359, hit his first home run Friday night, and on Saturday, he goes back. He's playing first base, goes back for a shallow pop in the foul territory right field, and collides with Gregory Polanco, who is hitting .059, and Evans breaks his jaw, and he's out for the season. Now, don't they teach you to call it? Call it! The ball's in the air. Say, I got it. Call it. Do better.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's been your weekly pirate turd burger. Served well done.
Do better.
Ladies and gentlemen, you have just witnessed another infamous hashtag Money Man rant. We love it.
Say, I got it. I got it. Yeah. Out for the season. Be live.
Oh, God. Oh, Scottie D, I love you so much. God, you bring so much joy to my life. I'm so glad to have you. I'm so lucky to have you.
Yes, we are.
All right. So I'm a somber note real quick, but also on a good note as well. Montrezl Harrell of the Los Angeles Clippers has returned to the bubble. He does have to has a quarantine for 4 days. He was tending to his grandmother. God rest her soul, unfortunately. I wanted to mention him returning to the bubble because also something that's unprecedented. I've never heard of this before, but they announced the individual, like the player awards, the finalists and stuff like that for the individual player awards, that 2 players from the same team are up for the 6th Man of the Year. Montrezl Harrell and the infamous Lou Williams.
Hey.
Both of them are finalists for the 6th Man of the Year award, which just the Clippers are deep.
Isn't that mathematically impossible?
You would think.
You think
the runner-up is the 7th Man of the Year?
Hey, that's. But yeah, I saw it. I was like, "What? Whoa, wow!" Hey, it is what it is. But yeah, definite. Unfortunate with his grandmother and everything, but glad to see him back in the fold. And then Clippers have 2 games left, and so they're probably going to get back into full form and then be the wrecking ball that they have been. I still pick them to make it to the finals. I still think Milwaukee will right the ship and do what needs to be done to win it all. Giannis, you can never count him out. But yeah, NBA, let's get it. Eddy Kool, the ball.
All right, good old Montrezl Harrell. I said to myself, I used to watch him when he played in Portland. I'm like, if he can get out of that situation and get into a good situation, he'll be good. And what do you know? Here we go. Oh yeah, the Phoenix Suns, they're 6-0 in bubble play and basketball. Yeah, those Phoenix Suns. They ain't going nowhere anyways. All right, so with that being said, on this day in history, back in 1991, the PGA Championship, that's right, we still talking about golf, John Daly, everybody's favorite golfer, he wins by 3 strokes as he beats fellow American Bruce Litsky to win the 1991 PGA Championship. I bet he had a pack of Marlboros, a natural light in a koozie.
He had a drink.
And some loud ass pants on. But I digress. He still won. Over to you, Scottie D.
All right, this past Saturday night, the Black Beast Derek Lewis scored a 2nd round TKO of Alexei Oleinik in the UFC. He now has the heavyweight knockout record of 11. I'm not sure if he's back in the title contention just yet. He fought Daniel Cormier for the title back in November of 2018. Cormier and Stipe Miocic trilogy fight coming up this coming Saturday night. I'm excited to see that. And the Sugar Show, Shane O'Malley, that's the multicolor hair dude. He got the Thunder, baby. He's bringing the Thunder on Saturday night. So UFC got a good card coming up this weekend. I'll probably talk about that a little bit next week. Sorry, Joe Gaffigan. I know it's not your sport, but we're going to do it. Be Live, over to you.
All right, let's finish this off with a little bit of baseball and a lot of not social distancing. And there's a reason for that, and I probably would throw hands too.
Cause I throw hands.
Try Jesus, not me, cause I fight. Yo, bench is clear between the Oakland Athletics and the Houston Astros.
The Astros in a fight?
Ooh. Who would have thought?
Now, you would think when you would hear these two teams that the fight would be because the Oakland Athletics pitcher would have hit one of the Astros batters. It's the other way around. Because during this series, Ramon Laureano got hit not once, not twice, but 3 times in this series, twice in this game. It's the second time he got hit. He looks at the pitcher and is trying to instruct the pitcher on how to properly throw a slider. Hey, you gotta snap the wrist to throw the slider so it don't snap off and hit me in the back.
Like it just did.
Right.
Twice.
So I need to get your life. Which then prompted, as he's walking towards first base, he's saying a couple words to the pitcher, and then the hitting coach, which is now the interim manager because Dusty Baker got ejected earlier, has some choice words for Laureano. The hitting coach, Alex Cintron, he decides to say, according to sources, he made a vile comment to Laureano regarding his mother.
Ooh.
I don't know about y'all two fellas, but if somebody got something to say about my mama, we fighting. That's it. We throwing hands, and you can see clearly in the video that the hitting coach is egging Laureano on, and then he's mouthing off something about his mom. Yeah, we got to go at it. And I'm gonna just let everybody know, a little public service announcement. It's not official yet, but as of September 20th, my mother will have a concealed carry license. So you might not want to run up on the sports mama. I'm just saying. Might not work out good for you. Just saying.
I'm a
Mama,
thug. I'm a real thug.
I'm just saying, just give everybody a fair warning that you might not want to run up on the sports mama.
What you say, Scottie D? She packing heat? What you say, Scottie?
I said Mama Live packing heat.
I'm trying to tell you, I don't think this ain't what you want, player. This ain't what you want. Oh man, I love it. Mom, I love you. Please don't shoot me. Please. That's all I got to say. All right.
You just better act right. And
you get a good old case of act right. Yeah.
Yeah. Real quick. All right, fellas, we get all our pepper in.
Yep.
Since I know it's going to have heat again, let me publicly apologize, Mama Live. I'm sorry. I was.
No, Eddy Kool. Eddy Kool. Amtrak this thing real quick. When he say something slick out of his mouth, don't you do it. No, Eddy Kool. Amtrak. Is there like a mute button like on around the horn before he say mute? No, don't even say it.
Oh man. All right. Well, you know what, ladies and gentlemen, it's been another action-packed and wild episode of the SportsBros podcast full of fisticuffs, pitching, and if you were a fly on the wall within the first 15 minutes before we went on, all the way on. Woo! Yeah, let's say I got some goodies for you at the end of the show. So stay tuned. And with that being said, Scottie D, where can it reach you?
I guess you can reach me in my room. I'm quarantining because of poison ivy. Try not to spread the poison ivy to anyone else in my family. So check me out on Facebook, y'all. Scott Donnelly, Donnelly, the Money Man.
And he said send cookies too. He said send
And
cookies
cookie.
too. Be Live, where can they find you at? Other than St. Louis. Well, I don't know if you want to go to St. Louis.
Right. No, can't do it. Cannot do it. I'm currently at the grocery store about to buy some oatmeal raisin cookies to send to Scottie D.
And oatmeal so I can put it in the tub and soak in it.
That's true. But yes, ladies and gentlemen, you can find me at Max Speed Shop, 482 North Fisher Church Road here in Fayetteville, North Carolina, home of the best burgers, brisket, over 50 draft beers, over 200 bottles of cans of beer. You can actually find our beer menu now on beermenus.com. Look us up. I get to update that every day, new things. Follow us on that. Also, when it comes to Sports Bros podcast, check us out on our Facebook like page. Check us out on Instagram, Sports Bros Podcast, Twitter at Sports Bros PCast. You can check out our website. We're going to be updating that with some more juicy sports stories with at the sportsbrospodcast.wordpress.com. Check out our YouTube page that I need to update, that I'm slacking on. You can also, if you have any questions, comments about the show, please feel free to hit us up on our email, sportsbrospodcast@gmail.com. Also, hey, just look us up on Facebook Messenger. We're definitely thankful for one of our newest fans, Joe Gaffigan. He's been chucking it up with us on the Facebook Messenger. We greatly appreciate that. We want that type of interaction with our listeners, man. We want to be interactive. We want to be different than the rest. So definitely appreciate that. And keep those recommendations coming. We want to be the best because we are sports by the fan, for the fan. Sports Bros Podcast. Yes, sir.
That's what we do, baby. And I'm looking at the menu right here. Let's see. Max Speed Shop, 45 on tap, 70 bottles, 98 cans. Updated yesterday, so it's still fresh. And with that being said, I go by the name of the head of the creative over here at Sports Bros Podcast, Eddy Kool. You can catch me out on all the Sports Bros social media platforms that Be Live mentioned. You can also check me out on Snapchat. That's if you do that. Super Cool 5000. You can also check me out on Facebook, Eddy Kool. You know the name, you know the game. And also, you can also check me out on Instagram as well, too. Cool Season, all one word. And before I go, I want to wish a happy birthday to Hulk Hogan, brother. Craig Elo, also known as the guy that got his light shot out by Michael Jordan, and Patty Mills of the San Antonio Spurs. So happy birthday to each one of those guys. And if anyone out there in Sports Bros Podcast land, y'all got a birthday, let us know, and we will give you a shout out as well too. All right, guys. Anything y'all got to say before we leave and watch some wrestling?
Me out of my mind.
Boy, never lied.
Why it's hard for me to find
some calamine lotion.
Yep. Done.
For
Gotta go scratch. Let's wrap it up.
All right. For the almighty Be Live and the poison man Scottie D, this be your boy Eddy Kool. And in closing, do something nice for yourself. And if you can, do something nice for someone else. Get Scott some calamine. They'll greatly appreciate it now more than ever. We love you. Take care. Stay safe. It's been another episode of the Sports Bros Podcast.
And my balls itch.
One more.
This is going to be the greatest edit in the history of the Sports Bros Podcast.
Yes, sir.
Take care. Bloopers.
Ready to rock?
Poison.
It's having me out of my mind.
Oh, yeah, it's definitely doing that. It's definitely doing that after some of the mess you just said.
Yep. Putting that at the end of the show.
Nothing but love for you, Scottie D. You already know that.
All right, fellas. You ready? We hopping in the
Sorry,
truck?
I went so hard on you and Barry doing that last segment.
You did not.
Oh, boy.
Sorry about that. So.
What? I ate you up and spit you out. You were Evander Holyfield's left ear.
I'm sorry, buddy, about that.
Oh, boy. You ready?
That's why I'm choking right now, because I ate you up.
Oh, this is why I love Mondays. I love Mondays. This is why I else with y'all, as the kids say. All right, fellas, you ready?
Yeah, let's do it.